So in this video, I'm going to tell you about how I use post-it notes. Yes, those little yellow sticky papers. Lately, I have found them incredibly useful as a tool to keep focused and to motivate and cheer myself on when I find things really hard. If you are like me, some days it can seem impossible to even do the smallest tasks or stay focused on something. And it's usually something that I set myself out to do, that one or two things for that day, that if I can just do those one or two things, it'll make me feel like more than a lump on the chair. So I'll write it on a post-it note and stick it where I need to see it. For example, I might set myself out a task to sketch something or paint something. I'll write it down and I'll stick it on the bottom of my monitor as a reminder. When I'm ready to take the task on, I take the post-it note off the monitor and keep it right next to me. If I have to move to a different spot or I'm sketching on my computer desk, I'll stick it on the wall right in front. So it's right front and center until the task is done. It's so simple yet effective. It's like a kickstart to remind myself, this is the most important thing to do right now. And it helps me stay focused until that job is done and I can take down the note. I might scrunch it up and put it in the bin when I'm done, or I might reuse it again another day. Well, great. Well, I can say that I've got about half a dozen of these taking up the bottom of my monitor since using this method in the last few weeks. I can say that I've been able to focus on what I want to do right in that moment, and it's worked, for me at least, for now. It's another tool, it's another starter tool for my tool belt next to the lowering the barrier to entry that I talked about in the last video. The task-oriented ones have priority ranking. They have a priority ranking of their own. They kind of move up the chain from the bottom of the monitor from left to right. And the ones on the far end kind of have to get done before I can fit any more on. Some of the less important ones that I thought were a good idea at the time get thrown out after a day or two or several. It's also a great way for me to get more specific on a task, so I'm not wasting time trying to figure out all the steps or all the aspects of something. For instance, you could write sketch for 20 minutes on a note, but I find if I put more information on it, it's easier to get started. So sketch for 20 minutes, cats from Pinterest, or a figure from a particular reference book, or clothed figure study from Pixabay or Pexels or whatever website I'm using. And I'll already have a list of reference pictures to choose from once the first few decisions have been made. So the more specific you can get, the easier it is to do. Take out most of the on-the-spot decision making and save the brain power to getting started. I've even written them at night when I've been in bed and all of a sudden I get an idea and I think, oh, what a good idea. I'll write it down on a note and I'll stick it on my phone for when I get up in the morning. And sometimes that idea wasn't so good and sometimes it is. So therefore it goes on the bottom of the monitors. The other way I use them is a way to talk. This is going to seem weird. Maybe I am weird. It's a way to talk to myself and give myself encouragement. Now, these notes can show up anywhere. I've also taken to writing things like this in my diary, my planner diary thing, but putting it on post-it notes and putting the notes where I need to see them has been like having someone cheering me on somewhat. I mean, well, not really. I know I wrote the note, but it's like the me from this morning was really cheering me on and hoping I was going to have a really good day and had all these, telling me I can do this and how good it'll be to make small achievements. I mean, no one else in my life does it, and because of my upbringing, I never learnt to do it for myself. And trying to talk myself up in the moment doesn't work because I don't believe me. It's complicated and I really don't understand why, but it just doesn't work for me. I can't motivate myself or cheer myself up when I'm already in a less than ideal frame of mind. It's like, well, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, right. But if I see a note I left myself this morning, when it reminds me that at that particular time I was hoping I could get through it, and seems to be a little bit more encouraging somehow. Also, the me from this morning might write that, something that acknowledges the difficulties that I might that I might have for that day, and will still believe in me, hopefully. Well, for now anyway. I mean, I could be going crazy from isolation too. Anyway, so these post-it notes say things like, I know we can do better, or stop wasting energy on things that won't change and focus on something good, or I know you can do at least this much today, or don't give up yet. Today we do the work. Take the post-it notes with you. That one is actually above my computer after I forgot all about one as I decided to work in another room that day. It might seem silly, but it's a way to remind myself I care when everything seems impossible. It might seem silly, but it's a way to remind myself that somewhere I do care, even when things seem impossible. It's certainly better than totally giving up for the day, which I have done quite a lot in the past. And I really like the encouraging notes. It is an extension to what I write in my daily planner, and maybe I'll talk about that in the future. It's something that changes and evolves on its own throughout the year. Sometimes it goes blank for weeks and then comes back as something else. So that's for another day, another topic. So I guess to wrap up, what I'm trying to say is, if you're having a hard time with things like me, give it a shot. Write it down. Write something down that you want to achieve for the day, or write down some kind words for yourself to remind you, that you do care, and leave it somewhere where you can see it.